And welcome back to the Northeast Florida surf fishing forecast for December 8th through the 10th. This video was taken Monday afternoon in Jack's Beach. We had west winds at 10 to 15 miles an hour with a higher gust. Still a decent swell coming in, but the water was beautiful, guys. And it's going to stay that way the next 3 to 4 days. Absolutely beautiful water. There were tons of big roe mullet in the surf as well as small finger mullet. As you can see, the water is clean. Nothing's going to change that. The wind's supposed to stay west, so we're going to have clean water. As I was saying, west wind the next few days. You got on Tuesday, west 10 to 15. On Wednesday, west 10 to 15. And then on Thursday, west at 3 to 5 miles an hour, guys. Surf is going to be down to less than half a foot. The water's clean right now with the west wind, so it'll more than likely stay very clean. In fact, it's probably going to get very clear. So if you've been fishing in Northeast Florida for any amount of time, when we get a lot of west wind and the water's clear, means no current. And the bluefish usually go crazy. So if you're going to be targeting whiting, what I would suggest and what I've done over the years is use as least tackle as possible. I even go away from the floats that I used on the pompano rigs, because when it's clear like that, those bluefish see everything. So a lot of times I'll go to just a Carolina rig, 2 or 3 ounces of weight, and fresh shrimp. Try to keep it as clear as possible, as you would say, to where only the shrimp can be seen. The more tackle you have on there, man, those bluefish. Even use swivels. I go to using black swivels. When it's clear like that, a silver swivel will attract the bluefish as well. But as you've seen, the fish has still been all over the surf. Tons of whiting, guys. They're hitting the fresh shrimp, hitting all flavors of the fish bites. They're hitting clams. They're hitting crab knuckles. Then you got the pompano with the water now around 66. Pompano are thinning out. They are still around, but they are thinning out. They're hitting the fish bites, the live sand fleas, crab knuckles, the redfish as well, with the mullet emptying out of the river. Now there's been a lot more reds caught in the last week and a half. All sizes, some big ones too, guys. Really big ones. 40 inchers have been caught around the inlets using chunks of mullet, chunks of bluefish, chunks of crab. And remember, the red's 18 to 27 inches, and you have to pinch the tail to get the correct length. If you don't pinch that tail, you might be getting a ticket if you're not careful. Like I said, the bluefish, basically they're hitting anything. I caught one reeling in my rig. They ate a sand flea. You know the bluefish are hungry when they're eating sand fleas. There's also been a lot of palmettos caught. Some hand size and bigger. I caught a couple on Monday afternoon, doubled them up a couple times, 8 to 10 inch palmettos. Those are some of the biggest ones I've seen. They're hitting live sand fleas. Speaking of live sand fleas, in Jack's Beach on Monday afternoon, even with it cold, on the outgoing tide, there are quite a few sand fleas running down in the waves. No defined schools like we've seen in the warmer water, where it's real easy to find them. But as the wave goes down, just watch, and you'll see them running down. And I was scooping them up with my hand, probably caught 30 or 40 in about 10 minutes. And I caught some drum, some whiting, some palmettos, and lost something I never saw. I think it was a big red. But the fish are still eating sand fleas, guys. And Noah Kuhn had a good report in Ponte Vedra, mid-tide, I believe, incoming. He said large schools of sand fleas were popping up all over the coquina. So if you have time, head down towards South Ponte Vedra where the drop-off is. Look for them in there. Those sand fleas will actually hang out in Ponte Vedra year-round. I've caught sand fleas all the way into January and February in Ponte Vedra, and the whiting still hit them all winter, guys. Right now, the trout are still around as well, speckled trout. They're hanging around structure, so like Volano Rocks, the inlet there, Flagler Pier, Matanzas Inlet, the bridge, Nassau Sound, Amelia Island, Little Talbot, Fort George, all of those places right now are holding a lot of trout, float rigged with a live shrimp or finger mullet on the bottom. And as always, this time of year, the sheephead bite has been absolutely phenomenal. Fiddler crab, sand fleas, live shrimp, crab knuckles. And with this clear water coming, like I said, you want to go light on the tackle for those guys as well. As you know, they have phenomenal eyesight, so the least tackle the better. With no current, I've done well just using a split shot and a hook and a fiddler or sand flea, or even free lining with no weight. Try that if you're fishing an area where there's no current. Now, if you're in the inlets, there's going to be current, so you'll still have to use weight. In fact, if you have a choice to fish for them, you need to pick an area where there's actually going to be current, because in the ocean right now with all this west wind, even with the tide switch, there won't be much current. So like the Volano rocks, you might get a few on the outgoing tide, but those sheephead seem to bite better when there's a little bit more current, guys. So hit the river, find areas of moving water where they're feeding, and it seems to work really well. Also, if there's cannonball jellyfish in the water, you can get the spider crabs out of them, and they work great. And that's all I got for you. Like I said, the next few days, clean water. If you do like the blues, don't forget they'll hit gotcha plugs and top water plugs as well. They were feeding heavily this afternoon on the mullet, absolutely ripping them apart. You could see them chasing them through the water. So keep those reports coming. Send me the pictures and we'll put them on the reports. And if you have any questions, leave them in the inbox or in the chat down on the YouTube comments. And until next time, guys, tight lines.